Hello, my name is Jeff Rolka. I want to thank you for checking out my video. I have been talking about using Twitter more frequently, and someone had a request for a tutorial on Life for Rent, which is a song by Dido. I don't know how old or how new this is, but it was a really cool tune, and I was really excited to get turned on to it. And so this is a tutorial. It's not strictly speaking a warm-up. You could certainly use it to warm up because I'm going to do some scale patterns and things like that, but this is mostly a distillation of the technique and some of the sort of trickier bits of the song that I found in having listened to it. Before I dive in, thank you if you've chosen to subscribe, and if you haven't yet, I hope that you'll consider doing so now. If you want a step-by-step method to work on your voice, head over to jeffrolka.com. The AAA method is there waiting for you. It is free, and check it out. It's, I think, reasonably good, if I do say so myself. Actually, I think it's really good. And finally, it's come to my attention that some of you have been trying to make contributions but haven't been able to figure out how. There's now a PayPal link in the description if you would like to make a contribution to keep these videos coming and to keep the live events on Saturdays happening. Anything and everything is greatly appreciated, and it helps me keep the train a-moving all night long, as was once said. Now, moving on to Dido. Lots of cool stuff in this. Reasonably cool range. Some sopranos may find that you're going to want to move the key higher. She sings in a primarily partially adducted type of phonation. In other words, it's a little bit airy. So what I would like to recommend you do is when you do these exercises, you then practice them first with a normal adduction, a fully adducted vocal fold. So when you sing like, first practice it with the fully adducted vocal fold, or full voice if you will. And then try separating it a little bit so you get a little bit more air in your voice. By starting from a fully adducted vocal fold and then adapting your phonation to have a little bit of the air leakage, you will find that you get much more consistent results overall. If you start from the partially adducted vocal fold, in other words, you try to skip right into, it is very likely that you will get inconsistent results because you haven't established consistent phonation with the fully adducted vocal fold. So, first things first, we're just going to get accustomed to the range of the tune as recorded. So it spans from A flat here to B flat here. And we're just going to run the scale a little bit. I'm choosing to orient it that way because I find it very interesting for where the melody lies. So we're going to do for starters. And why don't you do that? And I should say too, if that's a little bit tricky for you still, then do it with a lip trill. Why don't we do that again? And E. Let's do E and A, sounds like this. And again. A to Ah, and. And then A to O. Finally, E and U. And now I thought we'd extend the range as well a little bit. So with the lip trill, try and warm up our voices, and I know I said this wasn't strictly a warm-up and all that, but we want to try and vocalize at least a major second, a minor third above the highest note in the piece of music that we're working on now. This highest note happens to be a B flat, and that vocalization went to an E flat. But there you have it. Now, getting into some of the licks, or riffs, or melody, if you will, in the tune, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff. The verses hover in this area right here. And I think that there's two aspects of that that are really, really neat and somewhat challenging. One is that the melody starts by going back and forth between E flat and D, a half step. Half steps for vocalists are, it's not that they're hard, but it's easy for us to sing out of tune. We'll tend to go flat on the lower half step, so just slowly sing and then let's try it here, just to get our ears going. We're just going to go another half step or two higher. And now we're back into the key that it's written in. Now, to separate that a little bit more, you have this skip of a perfect fifth. And that is another area. Skipping down like that is an area where it's easy for us to undershoot the pitch. And actually, that reminds me that Dido does a lot of glisses up and around, and it makes it very interesting and challenging in a very cool way. We're going to talk more about that as we get into the chorus, but I digress. So anyway, let's practice that interval. Let's start with the lip trill first and go descending from there to there. And we could try a couple vowels with this as well. Why don't we do E? Now, part of the practice, which comes before we start to actually sing, is to try to have a mental concept of where that pitch is going to be. Hold that in your mind and place the pitch. Sometimes it can help to think about descending to that pitch rather than trying to somehow come up to it. Again, practice these with a fully adducted vocal fold, and then go back and then insert a little bit of that air that she uses to such great effect. It's really beautiful to listen to. I thought it was really a beautiful song to listen to, and I was psyched again to get turned on to it. Okay, so let's get into the chorus a little bit here. Now here's where there's two glissandos that she's using in this melody, one that ascends and one that descends. And I am going to show you the melody here without the glissandos, because it is easy to scoop to pitches. It is very difficult to scoop and get to the pitch that you're going to correctly. So what we want to do is have a very, very concrete concept of where we are going with this melody. And then the little whoops can get added a little bit later, or as it happens at the end of this phrase. So that's one aspect of this lick. Another aspect of this lick is the little neighbor figure at the end of it. That right there. The challenge here is to keep the vocal folds released enough so that when it's time to do the little, it's like a half gruppetto. It's not an entire turn, but because it ends down. But I'm getting into my Baroque terminology here, so forget that. The couple little notes at the end of it. I crack myself up. What can I say? So we have to stay loose enough, and that means staying engaged through the held pitch here. In other words, think about the melody moving forward. Keep our airflow moving forward. You can do this by making a little bit of an increase on that held note. Let's practice this first with a lip trill. And do that again. And I'm going to start leaving out at the very end of that, just so we get the structure here. Okay? And try it with E. And then we can take the vowels, I, A, and we can stay on A. Try that again. And one more time. Now, in the second half of the choruses, there's a little bit of changes that are instituted in the melody. Similar to that lick, but a little bit different. And here we have a little bit of a start to the melody as well. So again, we can start this with a lip trill. Try that. And one more time. I'll slow down. Let's do that once more. Nice and slow. Additionally, we get the B flat that happens in this part of our chorus. And the biggest skip that we have down in the piece. So we have the if my life is for rent. And of course we're up an octave here in her range, so we can again start this with a lip trill. And let's do that again. And let's do that one more time. The second half of that phrase is, and I don't learn to buy. And here we go back to the B flat. And it's important to stay engaged in that brief pause there. And I don't learn to buy. Sing that with me. You're up an octave. And I don't learn to buy. And try it on your own there. If we release that engagement, we stand the chance of just falling out of the range of our voices. And when that happens, it's going to be very, very difficult to accurately be in tune on that A flat when we come back into the melody there. Now, the last lick here. Again, there's a big glissando from the F to the G. There's nothing else truly mine. And I would like to suggest that you learn that without the glissando at first. This is going to make it much easier to find that G with a released vocal fold, which means good intonation. That also means that when you do the melodic figure at the end of it, you will be nicely in tune on that as well. Similarly, I might add to the partial vocal adduction. So you might first learn it full voice. There's nothing else truly mine. And then partially adduct it. There's nothing else truly mine. And then you can start to put the glissando back in. There's nothing else truly mine. And that way you'll get to your completed project. But first, start with the lip trill, or let's start with E. Phrase through the repeated pitch here. It's not E, 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 E. I'm going to keep playing the melody here on the piano, but we have to phrase through it. And all the way down till we get to that E flat. Again. It will also be easy to overshoot that F. We have to be conscious of that too. Have in mind where you are going. Try the lyrics. 2, 3. And again, we're phrasing through all those syllables of the notes. Try it again. 2, 3. And again. 2, 3. And there you go. I hope that helps. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section or get in touch via Twitter. You can also drop by my weekly live event, which is Saturdays at 6 p.m. London time here on YouTube. Take questions, all kinds of good stuff, chat amongst yourselves. It's a very, very fun time. Take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.